Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's Saturday. We waited to do this so we could get the first couple rounds of the NCAA brackets completed for the 31 people that submitted one. So today, David and I are going to cover, first of all, we are at the grand opening for Ankerstar Wealth, our brick and mortar building. Not that you're going to get this video in time to come out and make it, but hopefully you're here when you watch this. But today's topics. Of course, the NCAA update, there's no financial impact there. In a tribute to George Foreman, how do we tie that in? George Foreman made a lot of money on that grill, which I think I've owned two of them. So we're going to talk about that. And then, kids, DoorDash, making payment plans on DoorDash. David's going to talk about that. I'm in shock. I hope my kids don't watch this video because I don't want them to do that. But as we get started, this is a financial education presentation. You must do your own due diligence on anything you hear in this presentation. More disclaimer information can be found on ankerstarwealth.com, and the opinions expressed are mine and David's alone. So first, we'll start with the bracket updates. Basketball, I feel like we've been watching quite a bit of it the last couple days. And so we got you can see the standings on your screen. So after 2 full days and a couple more games, Sean Mullen and our own Joel Hansen are tied for first at 300 points. So they're off to a great start. From what I can tell, nobody's brackets are busted yet. Everybody's championship team is still there. And then tied for third and fourth are Marty and Tim. And then, hey, I got to give a shout out to number 5 is Mr. Goltz and my wife, who's clearly ahead of me because we haven't even mentioned my name yet. So, and then Zach as well. So that's kind of our current standings. We'll give our next update on Monday. And by then, I'm pretty sure some brackets will be busted. When you watch this video beginning next week, Monday and Tuesday, this will be your chance to get back in for the Silver Bowl because we're going to start our financial March Madness. If you did this last year, and I think Russ is the returning champion, you're going to pick stocks, just 4 of them, and those instructions will be sent out to you via email. So anyways, that's the brackets. Let's go to George Foreman. And hey, George Foreman, I remember seeing him never live, but saw him in some fights. Not in the 70s or when he was in his prime, but as the big, somewhat 40-year-old guy. It might have been Lennox Lewis he knocked out. I can't remember, but it was like a shocking upset. And with George Foreman, you just got to say you love his personality. I know when he was young, he might have been the diehard tough boxer, but when I saw him, he was just fun. And that is what sold grills. It wasn't because grills have anything to do with boxing, but the George Foreman grill, and those of you that are watching this probably like, did you own one?
I did own one. Yeah.
I owned like the original. There wasn't even a heat setting. You just plugged it in and it got hot.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
the way mine was too.
and then later on they got more advanced. But I found this article on George Foreman, and if you didn't know, he passed away. I think it was yesterday. He made way more money on this grill than he did in his boxing career. Way more money. And we're going to talk about that because we're about finances and that. And it just shows you that personality can take you a long way. So on this grill, Foreman told AARP that he made much more than $200 million for this grill. And when it first started, he cut a deal with this company called Sultan. He got 40% of the profits. So basically, he lends his name and his image. He gets 40%. Now, of course, it's win-win. 40% of the profits means it's making money. And I'm sure that was a lot more than they expected. The CEO said there was times they were sending him $4.5 million each month. How would you like to get that check?
I'd be okay with that.
For a grill. For a grill. So, and then the other thing is, I saw this, I did not know this till I read this. Originally, the offer was first given to Hulk Hogan. They said, do you want to do a grill or a meatball maker. Hulk Hogan said, I want to do the meatball maker. It was never released to the stores. Wow. Hulk Hogan, bad pick. So anyways, I thought that was funny for George Foreman. So with that, since we're talking about eating, and we love to talk about eating,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about DoorDash and what they're doing now.
So you may have heard of Klarna recently, as they're in the news for submitting their IPO documentation. So they will be hopefully IPOing soon. But they are a credit company where they loan you money and you can pay them back. So they've partnered with DoorDash to where you can eat now and pay later. And if you want to scroll down, they give you three options, which is you can pay in full using their seamless payment experience. You can make 4 equal payments interest-free, and then you can pay later. And the pay later, depending on your credit worthiness, you could be paying 0% to 24.99% on that. So I don't know, Mike, what do you think? I'm thinking I'm just gonna go ahead and pay for it. What do you think?
I'm thinking already when you eat now, you pay later with your health. You're just like, because most of the things you order on DoorDash usually aren't too healthy.
No.
But you pay later. I can't imagine being like, I can't imagine some young people, my kids doing this.
College kids.
Yeah, college kids, like, I got no money, so I'll pay this fast food bill delivered to my apartment later. And meanwhile, Klarna is going to be racking up the interest. And I guess technically, if you're an owner of Klarna, you might be all for this.
Yeah, they would be. I would strongly advise against this. If you were a client, please, if you're in that bad shape, go buy bread and peanut butter.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't do this. Pay it now.
It's just amazing. I mean, I get it. There's things that you buy your house, you're paying over a period of time, you buy a car, even your education. Those are good reasons, good things that you may buy over the long term, and you'll pay an interest rate. The interest rate's low because either you can't file bankruptcy or you have collateral. But when you have a meal, there is no collateral. They can't come back and say, I'll take that pizza back. So therefore, they are going to charge you a lot of interest. So
I see this as being rife for abuse and a lot of people getting themselves in a lot of trouble.
Oh my goodness.
Very, very quickly once this goes live. So I don't know that I like it. I understand why they're doing it, because everybody is all about enjoy the products now and I'll pay for it when I pay for it.
So I'd say watch your kids. If they get this access to this, be like, I'm already just trying to discourage my kids from, I don't want to say discourage them from using DoorDash, but I'm like, you could just drive like 5 minutes or 10 minutes and get it at half the cost. But I will say at the Youngman household, I can tell when it's Friday payday for my kids, because suddenly on a Friday, there's DoorDash that shows up at my house. And normally there's not. So
no.
So with that, just a reminder, on Monday, or I think the email will probably go out tomorrow, but we'll have our financial brackets where you just pick a stock and you pick 4 stocks. You can pick any 4 you want. It's no big deal. There's no cost. It's just for fun. And you can enter, get your new brackets, because by Monday, some of our brackets are going to be busted. I think I'm down to 13th in the list, which, the shame of my wife is at 5th and I'm at 13th. So
at this point in time, I need St. John's to come back on Arkansas, and it's not looking too good.
Well, thanks everybody for hopping on. We will talk to you later.